Welcome. I hope you enjoy these devotionals. I was talking to somebody and they said they really enjoyed coming to our houses. It's unusual circumstances, and we're so glad that we could bring you into our home and into our lives, that we could open God's Word with you, that it would be an encouragement and anchor for you in the midst of the ups and downs of lives. We've been doing a series on the character of God, and today we're going to look at the topic of God's majesty. When I need encouragement and support, I find myself looking at the scriptures, at the verses that highlight God's majesty. Look with me at Psalm 95. Oh, come, let us sing to the Lord. Let us make a joyful noise to the rock of our salvation. Let us come into his presence with thanksgiving. Let us make a joyful noise to him with songs of praise. For the Lord is a great God, and a great King above all gods. In his hands are the depths of the earth, the heights of the mountain are his also. The sea is his, for he has made it, and his hands formed the dry land. O come, let us worship and bow down. Let us kneel before the Lord our Maker, for he is our God, and we are the people of his pasture, and the sheep of his hand. The psalmist then goes on and talks about how people had turned away from the Lord, and that they'd hardened their heart, and no longer listened to him or followed him. But look at the verses that highlight God. For he is a great God, a great King. He's above all gods. In his hands he's the creator of the depths of the earth, the creator of the heights of the mountain. He's the creator of the sea and the dry land. He's our God. He's our shepherd. He's our great King. Majesty means greatness. When we recognize God as majestic, we're acknowledging his greatness. The psalmist starts the psalm with, "Come, let us sing to the Lord. Let it make us a joyful noise with songs of praise." I often claim this verse for people like myself that are musically challenged. It says to make a joyful noise. God doesn't require music. He likes it, but a joyful noise counts as worship. The ending verses of the psalm say that some people don't worship God because they harden their hearts. Worship's from the heart. Just because God is the majestic King, not everybody acknowledges him as King. Recognition of God's majesty is recognition that he's King. Psalm 95 says that God is high and above, majestic, to be feared and to worshiped, to be served with all that we are. In the modern church, we often focus on the personal nature of God. And I like that. I like the fact that the psalm says he knit us together in our mother's womb, that before any of our days began, he knew them all. I like the fact that he knows our name, that he numbers the hair on our head. But when we focus too much on the personal nature of God, we lose his majesty. I think of the song that says, "Let us worship and bow down. Let us kneel before the Lord, our God, our Maker." God is both. He's personal and he's majestic. Piper says that the reason missions exists is because worship doesn't. People don't see him and his majesty. They seek fulfillment in themselves and the things they can do and the things that they can create rather than God. They don't yield their hearts to him. I feel that this pandemic has challenged people's thinking about life and where we find fulfillment. And I feel that there's an incredible opportunity as I feel that people's hearts are softening towards God. Life has been disrupted. It changed overnight. We all feel the stress of it. When I get busy and stressed, I find it easy to lose perspective. The bigger my fears, the smaller God gets. I have a constant need to fill my soul, to limit the external noise that pulls my heart away from him. I don't need to see an endless feed of news and stories that provide no hope. I need to fill my soul with the scriptures that remind me of who God is and what he's done. Psalm 34:8 says, "Taste and see that the Lord is good. I need to taste the Lord. I need to see him. I need to feast on him and be encouraged by who he is. We feel the stress of all the pressure in our culture. But when you see God as majestic in all his majesty, we gain hope and perspective. Let's open our Bibles and see him as the majestic King, personal and noble, but worthy of our love and devotion because he's majestic. Seeing God's majesty gives us strength and it gives us hope.